Welcome to the Quimby Chronicles Momcast, where we talk about all things motherhood, family, and keeping your sanity through it all. In this episode, we cover the first big shifts moms experience, how relationships change, the mental weight of motherhood, finding yourself again after kids, and tips for adjusting to the changes. Ready to join the conversation? Come on in. Welcome back to another episode of the Quimby Chronicles Momcast. It's your girl Tracy, and as always, I got my daughter, my co-host, my ride or die Chante with me. Hey, girl.
And hey, you guys, we are back with another real and relatable episode today with you guys. And we are going to be talking about lifestyle changes. When I say changes, I literally mean changes. Like your how you sleep changes, how you see yourself, how your
Mm-hmm.
body feels changes, how your social life is, how you interact with other people changes, your mindset. It's literally a whole shift in the game once your mind clocks into being a mom.
Facts. That's big. That's big facts. And we know every mama listening has been through this in some way. So whether you just had a baby, your kids are grown, or you're somewhere in between, there's always some kind of transition happening.
So today we're going to be getting into it, how motherhood forces you to pivot, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the girl I was not ready for that moment. We're going to talk about all of it today.
So I'm ready. You ready?
I am ready. Are you guys
All right. Let's
ready?
get into it.
All right, guys. So let's talk about the first big change. Mom, what was the first thing that hit you when you first became a mom?
Uh, Everything. But if I had to pick one, I would definitely say my sense of freedom. Because I couldn't just wake up and do what I wanted to do anymore. Everything had to be planned around y'all's naps, y'all's meals, y'all's mood swings.
Oh,
Okay?
not mood swings.
Yes, mood swings, girl. Babies, first of all, the baby's mood swings are worse than grown folks. But for real, I went from being independent to having to think about another human 24/7, and that was hard.
I feel that. And for me, the biggest change was mental. Like I had to shift the way that I really thought about everything and like
Hmm.
my perspective on everything. Even when I have times where I want to be selfish, my
Hmm.
mind isn't even set up that way anymore. Like I literally cannot. My kids will always come first, always.
Right, right. And I think that's something that we don't talk about enough, the mental weight of motherhood. Because it's not just about sleepless nights, when you have babies. It's also about always having to think 10 steps ahead every single time, 10 steps ahead.
Yep. And then you also have the social shift. You lose friends, but I mean, I won't say you just lose them because you also gain some,
Right.
but your relationships with people change. The whole dynamic of your life is literally just flipped around at that point.
Oh, say that, honey. Say that. And we're going to get into that next, how friendships, relationships, and even marriage shifts after becoming a mom.
All right. So now let's talk about how motherhood changes your relationships. Friendships first. Mom, did you lose friends when you had me?
First of all, I've never been one to have a lot of friends.
I knew you were going to.
So I'm going to say no. I mean, some friendships really did fade because they didn't relate to me anymore. But I don't really think that it was because I had you. I think it was just, you know, we grow up, we change, and me having a baby on my hip, whereas everybody else was out partying, that really it didn't bother me.
Yep.
So,
And I would say for me, honestly, I didn't lose any friends either. All the people that I talked to from high school, I still talk to them now because they get
right,
it. Because now my friends, they're mothers too, so they get it.
right,
So I
right,
didn't necessarily lose friends, but I would say I only have two friends to begin with, and then I have
right.
other people that I talk to here and there.
Same,
But
same.
actually losing friends, that didn't happen to me either. And if you are a mom that lost, friends becoming a mother, it happens sometimes and it's not on purpose. Like
Right.
said, there's just times where the friendships don't feel like they're benefiting you anymore. They're not fitting for how you choose to live your life, or
Right,
go
right,
about your day to day, and it's
right,
just priorities changing at that point.
right.
And it's
Absolutely, absolutely.
normal. We don't judge. It's normal because it happens.
It
It's
does, it
gonna be
does.
one forever. It happens.
Right, right. No, absolutely. I mean, relationships, honey, ooh, motherhood will definitely test your marriage or your partnership real quick. The dynamics start to shift. And if y'all don't communicate, if communication wasn't something that y'all had as the foundation within that relationship, baby, let me tell you, you have a kid. Rocky does not even begin to describe how your relationship is affected once you have a kid.
Yep, 1000%. Because, after I had my first, I saw how the stress can really put pressure on a relationship,
Hmm.
especially if you are like a younger couple, or, you
Hmm.
don't quite have everything figured out. That's just piling onto it at that point. Like, just
Right,
you're kicked while you're down. If you and your partner aren't aligned, you're gonna have some troubles. You're bound to have some troubles, and having that said child will expose all of those troubles, even if you didn't know they were there before. Bring a
what?
child into a relationship, you will learn very,
What?
very, very
Say it
quickly.
again.
You will learn
What? Girl,
very
cause
quickly.
honey, having them babies, but how you looking at your partner like, what do you even do? What do you do all day? You be having a whole attitude like, what? Let's talk about what you did, because I can tell you what I did. What'd you do all day?
Not what did you do, but seriously, communication, like when they say communication is key, they mean that. Communication really is key. Even if you feel like it's something that they don't want to hear or that they'll get upset at the end of the day, you can't be walking around on eggshells and tiptoeing around your partner. Your partner is your partner, that's your person, that's your support. Communication really is key. And you have to talk, or you're going to have moments where it's just you have all these things that are bothering you that you're choosing not to speak about, and then it just
Right,
blows out of nowhere. And a lot of
right,
times it happens with something so small that it really wasn't that serious, but you have all this pent up resentment. It's just
right,
oh, just bursting out, and you're just like, okay,
right,
yeah, sorry, it wasn't even that deep, but
right.
there's this and this. You need to be upfront, communicating properly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and just don't bottle it up. Just speak your mind, friends. Speak your minds.
Right.
Truth.
And one thing I can say is that, I don't know, everybody hears that phrase, the straw that broke the camel's back. So I think in motherhood, since I've been a mom, that phrase has rung true more times than I'd like to admit. Because it's a crazy space to be in, because you're a mom, but then you're still a partner, and you want to communicate, but then you don't want to sound like you nagging. And trying to find the right words, the right time, the right tone to be able to communicate something with your partner is such a big thing. And I know for me, I used to be like, oh, well, you know what? Uh, that's not even that big of a deal. Like, but it would be a big deal to me. But I'd be like, you know what? That's not even that big of a deal. It's not worth the argument. That would be my thing a lot. It's not worth the argument. Okay. So something that was a very big deal to me may not be worth the argument, but then something will happen that normally I let it slide off my back. Now we having a knockdown drag out because I didn't address that first thing. So definitely communication, building a foundation of communication, something that I've learned recently, discussing conflict resolution. Knowing how you resolve conflict, knowing how your partner resolves conflict can prevent a lot of stress and a lot of strain on your relationship. Like, what do you think your conflict, how do you think you resolve conflict? Like, what do you think your conflict resolution style is?
Me personally, whenever there's some sort of conflict, regardless of it's my husband, family, friends, whatever, my solution has always been to remove myself. Like I will just get up
Yeah.
and I leave to go sit by myself. I don't care where I am. I will get up and go be by myself, regardless
Not
of
me
where I are.
snorting.
I will get up and I will leave
Yeah.
because me personally, I know that it's easy for me to speak out of anger, and I don't like to
Hmm.
kill myself like that. So I'm not even
Absolutely.
going to put myself in, the situation to be able to be speaking out of anger and say something that I can't take back. So I
Right.
will just
Right.
get up and gladly remove myself. I take my phone, my headphones, my little candy, whatever, and I'm gone. You
Right.
won't for a couple of hours. I need to go
Yeah.
sit and be in my peace by myself.
Right. Right. Yeah, I feel that. Because I want to say I used to be the same way. But it depends. It depends on what it is. For me now, conflict resolution starts with me saying, excuse me, you did this, you said this, it made me feel this way, and I just want to let you know. Um, the biggest thing for me is taking that time to sit with how I'm feeling, process it, and then communicate it because history shows that your girl will pop off. Okay. So your girl will pop off. So
You know.
I've grown. I've grown, and I just know that about myself. I know that my first reaction about something is usually just emotional, visceral reaction. And I got to sit with that for a little bit and then be like, okay, let's examine and then move on from there. So, um, conflict resolution, communication, definitely key in a relationship, period. But once you start adding children and those family dynamics, it is a must if you're going to be successful. So, you know, but so and I know that a lot of y'all out there listening can relate to that. So next we're going to talk about how we adjust to these changes that we just talked about. Having the kids, having that relationship, first of all, is not easy. But then when you add into kids, let's talk about how we adjust to those changes without losing who we are as people or as women or however you identify. How do you adjust to the changes of being a parent without losing yourself?
Okay, guys, so we've got into the struggles, but now let's get into the solutions. Mom, what's one thing that helped you adjust to all these lifestyle changes?
Time, patience. Okay. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but for real, time and patience, number one. But I think the thing that was most effective was prioritizing myself. And I know that sounds crazy because, us as moms, we always put ourselves last. But I had to learn that when I'm good, my kids are good. And I think people say it a lot. You can't pour from an empty cup, stuff like that. How can you take care of somebody else if you don't take care of yourself? And people say it, but do we actually put it into action is the thing. So I had to start putting those things into action and know that self-care isn't just about bubble baths. It's about setting boundaries. It's about telling your kid, like, no, you can't sleep in my bed. Okay. You can sleep in my bed if you're sick, you're not feeling well, but not tonight. No, like, I don't want to sleep with your feet in my back. No, go get in your bed. Self-care is asking for help. When you have moments where you're feeling overwhelmed, don't be afraid to say to your partner, hey, watch these kids for a minute, I'm about to go. And I'm gonna tell y'all a little story real quick. So and Shantae's laughing because she already know. So when my now 18 and 17-year-old were younger, they're a year and 4 months apart. So I want to say my youngest, so it was probably like June, July. So March, April, May, June, July. So he was like 5, 6 months. So that made her, she was about to be 2. And I was in school. So I was doing my prerequisites for nursing school. And I was doing classes online. So if you can imagine, so I'm sitting in the chair like this, and I have my son because he's the younger one. I had him in my arms like so. My soon to be 2-year-old was standing next to the chair, hanging on the chair. My son was crying. My daughter was crying. She wanted to get into my lap, but I'm trying to figure out what why he's crying. In addition to that, so I'm sitting in the chair because the computer was right in front of me. I was trying to do my schoolwork. I had something that I had to get done before class that evening because my then husband was at work. And when he got home from work, we would switch off. I would go to class and he would just take over. If I started dinner, he would finish dinner. Um, so this particular day, Sean, he was crying, 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 crying. I could not figure out what was going on with him. He was fed, he was changed. I could not, he was burnt. I could not figure out what was wrong with him. And my toddler crying, hanging on the chair, hanging on my clothes, just bawling. Eventually I started to cry too. Because I just was like, I don't know what to do at this point. Like I was just so overwhelmed in that moment. So I ended up putting my son in his crib. I put my daughter in her playpen. I closed the door and I went in my room and I cried for a good couple of minutes, got it all out. I was like, okay, I'm ready to parent again. So I continued parenting. When their dad got home, I said to him, well, I took the keys from him. I said, dinner started, the baby's sleeping. Jasmine she was doing whatever. I'm like, the big kids, they're done with their homework and everything. I said, but on my way out the door, I said, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I said, today I see how people shake babies. I mean, and I was so sincere about it. Like, honestly, that day, I was almost at my wit's end. And had I not been a mentally tough person, I would have shook one or both those babies because it was just in that moment, I had no idea what to do. And mind you, this is not like this is my first kid. This is my second and my third. So it's like, you think you got a handle on it, and then something like that happens, and you're like, oh my God. And when I said that to him, his eyes got so big. Because and now thinking back, he probably thought that I shook his babies. But I didn't. I didn't. I just said that I understand how it happens. I definitely understand that. So, you know, from that point, I try to make a conscious effort to prioritize myself. I try to make a conscious effort to ask for help. And it's not always easy because innately we have that whatever it is in us to make sure that everybody around us is good before we make sure we're good. So okay, it be like that. Okay. It be like that. Like them people that be like, F them kids, I feel them. Don't get me wrong, I love my kids. I love them to pieces. However, sometimes F them children, okay? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But anyway, so setting boundaries is self-care, asking for help and knowing when to ask for help. Like I definitely identified that, oh, I need some help when I felt like I identified with people who shake babies. Like, yeah. And then making sure that I still had an identity outside of being a mom. Because once you become a mom, and and there's so many things that go into being a mom. You want to be the best mom you can be for your kids. You want to make right the things you felt went wrong in your own childhood. So you kind of overcompensate for some things. And all of that, it's so much pressure that we put on ourselves because our kids don't care. Like they gonna love us regardless. Our kids do not care. Like they legit do not care whether you the best mom in the world or not. To them, you are the best mom. They wouldn't have it any other way. So a lot of that is pressure we put on ourselves, and that's something that we all need to work on. Things that we need to fine tune, making sure that those things are done and flipping the mindset, from it being mom first to it being Traci first, Chante first, embracing that concept that you can't pour from an empty cup, making sure you fill yourself up first before you give to others. It's my 2 cents. Well, it's about 10 cents, but whatever. It's all 10 of them.
1000% yes on all of that, because I definitely had to learn that too. And another
Hmm.
thing that I felt like helped was finding a community that you are able to lean on as best you can,
Hmm.
or whatever the case may be. Talking to other moms could make a huge difference. And
Right.
now that we're doing story times, I have a story for you guys. So, for those of you that don't know, I had my daughter. She's my second. I had my daughter at the end of 2023.
Hmm.
So she was born December 5th, 2023. Mind you, she was a couple days late. We're not even gonna get into how my
The due
silly
date.
angel made her entrance in. Just know that was traumatizing. That's for another episode. Cause woo. Anyways, anyways, my husband had to leave for all the way to Texas
Mm.
because we're from Florida. He had to leave all the way to Texas for his basic training. That was 7.5 weeks.
Uh-huh.
Mind you, my daughter was 6 days old. She wasn't even a week old. She was
Hmm.
6 days old, and my husband had to pack up and leave. So it was, even though I was still living with my mom and my aunt and my siblings,
Hmm.
that was still really hard, especially with
Hmm.
my said second that would cry the minute she is not able to lay eyes on me. So it with her, it wasn't even like, oh my gosh, can you hold her so I can take a shower? Oh, can you hold her so I can eat? Like, she literally would not be held by anyone else.
Because we
And then,
literally used to be like, when Shantae would be like, oh, can you watch Selena? We'd be like, we'll watch Luca. Selena,
funny
we'll
because
watch
they did
Luca.
do it, but they know that she is going to scream her head off because that's
She did.
all she did. She was a crier. She still
She
is.
was.
Not as much. But with
Right.
her, it was so bad. And I remember this one night so specifically. And mind you, this was after we came back from my husband's graduation in Texas. So it's like,
Hmm.
okay, now it feels like we're easing down on the time to
Hmm.
when we're all going to be reunited again,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
school was, I don't even know, a couple months, 3 months.
Yeah.
I don't remember. That whole part of my life, that it's a fog. It's a brain fog.
It's a
I was,
blur. I know.
I really don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I remember this one night when I tell you guys my daughter would not stop crying. She was fed, her clothes were changed, her
Hmm.
diaper was changed, she
Hmm.
had socks. At this
Hmm.
point, she had a pacifier. She didn't have a fever, like she wasn't sick, she wasn't teething, like she just would not stop crying. And then
Hmm.
here comes my son. He just turned
Just
two.
two. Yeah.
He just turned 2 months before I had my daughter. My son turned 2. He was just in the worst possible toddler mood I have ever
Hmm.
seen. And I couldn't even send him out because it was late and everybody else was sleeping. So I couldn't
Hmm.
like, oh, go with Gigi. Oh, go with Raina. Go with Auntie. Go with Titi.
Yeah.
Like, go with somebody else.
Yeah.
Everybody was sleeping. It was late and I am
Yeah.
sitting here crying and crying. I put Selena down in the bassinet, and guys, I kid you not, it looked like I was in a music video. Like, I had my hands up like this on the wall, sliding down, wanting to throw up. Like, it was bad. It was bad. You could not tell me that I was not a background person in somebody's music video. Like, it was really
Right.
bad.
Yeah.
Everybody's sleeping. Both of them are crying. Luca's throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
It was so bad. I literally just sat there like this,
Hmm.
just staring at the both of them,
Yeah.
because I laid my daughter on the bed. Luca's sitting there crying, and I'm just looking at him like this.
Hmm. Hmm. For the
I
record, you could have sent my boy with me because whenever he came up to my room, honey, he would get in that bed and I'd be like, you want to get in the covers? He'd be like, yeah. He would get into my little fuzzy blanket. He would do this number, pull it up, and my boy would be gone. You could have
that is
sent him up there.
And my son, he is such a sweetheart. Like, he will get
He
up and
is.
lay next to anybody. He is such a sweetheart.
He is.
I remember that time that I was really going through it, and I sent him upstairs because I knew
Hmm.
that Auntie and Jasmine were up. So I sent him upstairs.
Hmm.
I'll take care of who you end up with, but
Yeah.
you gotta go. You gotta go
Yeah.
upstairs with me too.
Yeah.
Because Selena
It
was
be
on,
like that.
he was doing a lot. And next thing you know, I go looking for Luca and he's sleeping in my mom's bed. They were both sleeping.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
went to go and get him. They were both sleeping. And I was like,
Yeah.
have at it. See you in the morning. I'm gone. I'm not about to wake him up. I'm good. You guys look like you
Right.
are doing so nice and peacefully. I
And
will
we
leave
were.
myself. So finding a community or having a community in general is
Yeah.
so important. That's
Absolutely.
I was glad that we were able to, have these opportunities to travel and live in different states.
Right.
Guys, I miss my community. I can't
Yeah.
just I haven't had a break from my children in
What,
almost a
10
year.
months? Yeah.
Yes, it's coming up on a year. I haven't
Yeah.
had for my children.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
am losing it sometimes,
Hmm.
but you know, teaching your kids some ways to keep calm. I just taught my daughter
Yeah.
how to take a deep breath. She doesn't do it properly, but it's cute to look at. My son knows how to do it, so when he's having his big
His
feeling,
deep breaths are hilarious. You got to record his deep breaths so we can
I have to
post it
have a
because his deep
video.
breaths are hilarious.
We will include a video of both of them doing it for you guys. My daughter,
Yes.
that's how my daughter does it. But hey, girl, whatever works, whatever you need to do,
Right.
have
It
at it.
calms you down. Yeah.
Because she is getting so big and now really
Yeah.
into all her big feelings,
Hmm.
and it's something.
Yeah.
It's really something. So having community, I believe, is literally top three importance.
Absolutely.
Top
Absolutely.
three for sure. Because
Yeah.
even though you don't like to have breaks from your children, you will want breaks from your children.
Yeah.
From a
You
person
need them.
to let her children's out of her children's ignore that her children out of her sight.
Yeah.
Coming from someone that was like that, you
Yeah.
are going to need a break from those kids. I'm telling you now. Even if you don't have bad kids or wild kids, whatever the case may be, even if you have a calm child, which my child's pretty calm for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, they're both toddlers. My son, he's calm for
Yeah.
the most part, other than
Yeah.
jumping off everything, thinking he's Spider-Man.
And
Other
he's
than
a
that,
boy. Don't
he's
do my
very
boy.
yes, toddler boys, you have to be built tough because he had me up there WWE wrestling because his dad wasn't home yet, and I was
Right.
genuinely fighting for my life. Like
Right.
I was a little scared. Like I tried to tap out, and I was getting beat up. Like what do you do
Right.
at that point? What do you?
Yeah. It'd be like that. It'd be like that, man. But and like Shantae said, you need that community. Even if you're people like us who don't fool with people like that, because we don't. We don't play with folks like that. But you
Oh,
still need that community. You need those people who are gonna understand, like, you know, you gotta be like, you made plans and you like, dang, hey, I can't make it because ABC, or why you don't text back immediately. Like, people already know when you text me, like, I'm gonna get back to you eventually, but I may not text you back right away. So, you need that. You need that.
and most importantly, give yourself some grace. Please give
Yes.
yourself some grace.
Yes.
Motherhood is
Yes.
definitely a
Yes.
it's a consistent battle, adjustment,
Right.
just mush. Like your brain literally turns into mush at that point.
Right.
And you need to give yourself grace. If saying you forgot something or you felt like you weren't the best mom that you could be
Right.
that, it's okay. You're not going to
Right.
have perfect days every single day. I
Right.
have
Absolutely.
where I'm irritable and end up taking it out on my kids, and I'm like, okay, Shantae,
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't ask to be here. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
cool out. And at that point, it's everybody. Let's go make some popcorn, and everybody's gonna come watch a movie, and we're gonna
Right.
relax. That's
Yeah.
what I tell my son whenever he's just ramped up too much and not
Yeah.
starting to not listen. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it's time to lay down. He says, lay down and relax. Yes, sir. You go ahead and lay down and relax.
I
Yes,
love it. I
please.
love it. I know that's right.
I like how you said he was pulling up the blanket. He still does that. He'll get under the blanket like this. Thanks, mom. Thanks.
Uh-huh. I
Is
know that's
such
right.
a sweetheart, and he listens well for the most part. But when he's doing,
Yeah.
it's time to get some popcorn. We always majority of our snacks we get in bulk, so
Right.
it's time to pop some popcorn. We're gonna sit down and watch a movie.
Right.
We're gonna relax,
Absolutely.
whatever. And I even let them choose the movie. We are going to
Right.
sit and relax and just have a breather because
Right. Absolutely.
sticking an iPad in your face. 24/7. Me
Right.
personally, that's not what I do. If you do, no judgment, no judgment. But
Right. No.
I don't like the screen time literally all day, every day.
Right.
That's not
Yeah.
my particular cup of tea.
Right. Absolutely. Man, let me tell y'all, that was such a good conversation today. We covered so much. And I know that a lot of y'all, if not all of y'all, felt this conversation in your spirit. Okay. I know you felt like we were talking to you. I know you did. Because, woo, okay.
And yes, we definitely want to hear from you guys.
Uh-huh.
We have a bunch of different platforms, but one thing is we want to hear what's been the biggest lifestyle changes or changes if it's plural that
Right.
you guys have been through when entering motherhood.
Yep.
So you guys
All right.
can hit us up on Instagram. We're at
Mhm.
Quimby Chronicles. You can DM us, comment on a video. You can
Mhm.
comment on a YouTube video, whatever the case may be.
On TikTok,
We're good
podcast.
listeners on all platforms, on all of them. We love to listen. We love to talk to you guys.
As you can see, we like to yap. We're yappers, okay?
Professional point.
What? And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast so you can listen to us on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're also, like Shantae said, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. Uh, I think that's it,
I
but
think so.
that's enough. So don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. And we definitely, definitely appreciate y'all rocking with us. Okay. So until next time, keep growing and keep glowing. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Quimby Chronicles Momcast. Toodles.
Guys. Okay.
Thanks for tuning into the Quimby Chronicles Momcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode, and join us next time as we tackle more of the beautiful chaos that is motherhood.